A brief history of the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church. The Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church is an ancient church which upholds the apostolic teachings. 1. Definition of terms. 1.1 Ethiopia. The term Ethiopia, which means burnt face in Greek, was first used by Homer and Herodotus to refer to the place between south of Egypt and Indian Ocean, because the area was inhabited by people having that color. Ancient Egyptians used to call the place south of their country as land of the Cush. Prophet Moses used the term to refer to that place because he grew up in Egypt learning their language and culture. The 70 scholars, who lived in the 2nd century BC and translated the Holy Bible from Hebrew into Greek, used the term Ethiopia to refer to the place that Moses called Cush. This term has been mentioned more than 40 times in the Holy Bible. Currently, the term Ethiopia is used to refer to the East African country, which has an area of about 1,109,683 kilometers. 1.2 Orthodox. Orthodox means in Greek, straight or right. This term was used as part of the name of the church by the bishops and scholars of the church who attended the Council of Nicaea, a city near the current Istanbul. The council was summoned because of Arius's false teachings on the nature of Christ. The scholars and bishops called their faith Orthodox after defeating Arius in the argument in the council. Currently, 6 Oriental churches, namely the Ethiopian, Egyptian, Syrian, Indian, Malankara, Armenian, and Eritrean churches, and other Eastern churches like the Russian and Greek churches, use the name Orthodox. 1.3 Tewahedo. Tewahedo stands for the term incarnation or union, which in other words means oneness, and shows the Son being perfect God, perfect man, but as one entity, which is the basic dogma of the Church. Our Church believes that the Son, who existed before the creation of this world, came to this world and assumed the human flesh and soul, and in doing so, he has become a perfect God, a perfect man, having just one entity. 1.4 Church. This term stands for what is known as ecclesia in Greek. It means a congregation or assembly of Christians. In addition, it is used to refer to a place designed for worship and prayer by Christians, the administration of the Church, and also each individual Christian. 2. History of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. 2.1 Belief in God. Human beings in different times have been worshiping God in 3 different rules: the rule of conscience, the rule of Mosaic law, and the rule of gospel. 2.11 The rule of conscience. The rule of conscience was the first rule given to human beings. God created mankind to be conscious of the good and bad things. Mankind lived by this rule for about 4,000 years from Adam to Moses until about 1500 BC, and there was no written rule at that time. 2.2.2 The rule of law. Ethiopia was worshiping God by the rule of conscience until the time of Queen Sheba. Around 950 BC, Queen Sheba went to Jerusalem and paid a visit to King Solomon. When she returned, she came with the Mosaic law. Her son, Menelik I, whom she conceived from Solomon during her visit, went back to Jerusalem and brought the Holy Ark of the Covenant to Bot Sion. These made the country to be the second country to follow the rule of Mosaic law, which it followed until the coming of the Christ. 2.2.3 Christianity, the Gospel. The story that shows how Christianity came to Ethiopia is presented in the Acts 8 verse 26 to 40 as follows. And the angel of the Lord spoke unto Philip, saying, Arise and go toward the south, unto the way that goes down from Jerusalem unto Gaza, which is desert. And he arose and went. And, behold, a man of Ethiopia, an eunuch of great authority, under Candace, queen of the Ethiopians, who had the charge of all her treasure and had come to Jerusalem for worship, was returning and sitting in his chariot reading the book of Isaiah the prophet. Then the Spirit said unto Philip, Go near and join thyself to this chariot. And Philip ran thither to him, and heard him read the prophet Isaiah, and said, Understandest thou what thou readest? And he said, How can I, except some man should guide me? And he desired Philip that he would come up and sit with him. The place of the scripture which he read was this: He was led as a sheep to the slaughter, and like a lamb dumb before his shearer, so opened he not his mouth. In his humiliation his judgment was taken away. And who shall declare his generation? For his life is taken from the earth. And the eunuch answered Philip, and said, I pray thee, of whom speaketh the prophet this? Of himself, or of some other man? Then Philip opened his mouth, and began as the same scripture, and preached unto him Jesus. And as they went on their way, they came unto certain water. And the eunuch said, See, here is water. What doth hinder me to be baptized? And Philip said, If you believest with all thine heart, thou mayest. And he answered and said, I believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. And he commanded the chariot to stand still. And they went down both into the water, both Philip and the eunuch, and he baptized him. The writers of church history, Eusebius the Caesarea and Herennius, as well as St. John Chrysostom, wrote that this eunuch came back to Ethiopia and preached Christianity. So Christianity came to Ethiopia in 34 A.D. Nevertheless, there was no priesthood until the 4th century. The sacraments of the church, like the mystery of the Eucharist and the mystery of baptism, were not performed. The sacraments were started to be performed by Saint Freminatos, Abba Salama, who grew up in Aksumite Palace and was appointed as Bishop of Ethiopia by the 17th Patriarch of Alexandria, Saint Athanasius.